Have you ever noticed that the girls who seem to have the highest potential often struggle the most with the simplest thing? I am talking about the smart girl paradox. You can analyze complex data, you have brilliant ideas, you give the absolute best advice to your friends, and you can hyperfixate and learn a brand new skill in a single weekend. But when it comes to the mundane, everyday routine of just showing up, going to the gym 3 times a week, posting regularly, sticking to that study schedule, or finishing that project you were so obsessed with last month, suddenly it's like your brain short circuits. If you are constantly calling yourself lazy or wondering why you can't just stick to a routine despite being objectively intelligent, I have good news and bad news. The bad news is you have been approaching consistency all wrong. The good news, you your struggle with consistency isn't a flaw in your discipline. It's a byproduct of how your brain is wired. Today let's talk about these psychological reasons why why smart girls struggle with the consistency and how to actually fix it without losing your sanity. The the first major roadblock is perfectionism paralysis. When you are naturally intelligent or capable, you can see the perfect end result in your mind with absolute clarity. You don't want just to start a skincare routine, you want the ultimate aesthetic 10-step glass skin routine. You don't just want to learn to paint. You want your first canvas to look like a gallery's piece because your standards are incredibly high. The gap between where you are starting and the perfect vision feels massive. This psychology. For a smart brain, doing something poorly feels like an identity crisis. If it can if it can't be done perfectly, your brain categorizes it as a failure before you even start. So, to protect your ego, you procrastinate. The shift, you have to lower the bar for entry. Lower it lower it so much that it feels almost embarrassing. Instead of 1 hour workout, aim for 5 minutes. Consistency beats intensity every single time. A messy 50% effort done consistently will always outperform a 100% perfect plan. Then you only do once a month. The boredom of the maintenance phase. Reason number 2, intelligent minds crave novelty and dopamine. Smart girls love the problem solving phase. When you start a new hobby, career path, or wellness journey, your brain is firing on all cylinders. You are researching by the aesthetic supplies, planning, and learning. It's highly stimulating, but you figure out eventually you figure out the puzzle. You know how to do it, and that's where the maintenance phase fits. Once a task goes from being a creative puzzle to repetitive routine, a smart brain gets incredibly bored. It looks at the routine and says, "Okay, we get it. What next?" You aren't lazy, you are just understimulated by the monotony of daily habits. You need to gamify the process of you need to gamify the process or change your environment. In a ri- if a routine feels stagnant, don't change the goal, change the scenery. Shift your workplace, listen to a fascinating podcast only while doing that boring task, or track your consistency using visual data like a beautifully designed habit tracker. Like a beautifully designed habit tracker, give your brain a new metric to play with. Over intellectualizing the action instead of executing. Smart girls love to optimize. Why smart girls love to optimize? Why start working out today when you could spend 3 weeks researching the absolute best split, the perfect macronutrient breakdown, and the most optimal shoes? We trap ourselves in a productive procrastination. We trap ourselves in productive procrastination. You feel like you are working because you are reading book, watching videos, or organizing your Notion workplace. But planning is not the same as doing. The reality check, the reality check. Thinking about the thing is comforting because it's in your head. Nothing goes wrong, but execution is messy. It involves real world friction. Implement a research gap. Give yourself a hard deadline. I am allowed to research this for exactly 2 hours, and then I have to take one messy imperfection action. Action creates clarity, thinking only creates more thoughts. If you watch this far, I want to take a deep breath and forgive yourself for the half finished projects, the abundant planners, and the routines that didn't stick. You aren't broken, you just have an active, bright mind that needs to be managed a little differently. To recap, your new smart girl